Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glen Cowie, where we talk about all things Tottenham Hotspur from both the match attending and international supporters' view. This episode we'll be speaking with Rachel Martin and Roy Beck from the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, and we'll be covering fan engagement with the club, Frank's sacking, we'll take a look at the appointment of Igor Tudor, and hopefully look forward to something good at the weekend in the North London derby. A lot to get through, so let's get into it. Glenn, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. We were just speaking off air that obviously I'm down under. We tend to pivot to the weather, don't we? So 37 degrees
You
here
do,
yesterday.
because it's always better there.
It's always better there, yeah. So for me, it's always better. So yeah, 37 degrees here yesterday. It's cooled off to a more pleasant 24 today. So I'm well, mate. I'm well.
It's currently 1 degree here, so sharp.
Indeed. No, but I'm good, mate. I'm good. Well, without further ado, you touched on it. We've got Rachel and Roy joining us from the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust. Thank you both for offering some of your time with us. Look, any guests that we get on, we always like to get a bit of a backstory on why you support Spurs. If you would indulge us for a few moments and maybe just share your stories. I know, Rachel, you've been on the Supporters Trust for, is it 11 years? And Roy, you're on more recent edition. But over to you, maybe, Rachel, on why Spurs. And then after that, Roy would be keen to hear your story. And then, as Graham said, we're keen to get into it on a bit of a chat around fan engagement and just the trust as a whole. But over to you, Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like with so many people, it's family. My dad was born in Tottenham, and there was never any choice. I remember watching the '67 Cup final on telly with him, and asking the stupid question of, is Spurs the same thing as Tottenham Hotspur? And realising by the sort of disdain that he looked at me with, that I need to get to grips with this. And he took me to see Spurs v Man City, which you won't be surprised to know we won, because we always beat City, Chivers and Gilzine, and I was just beside myself with excitement. And then I came up to London to stay with a family friend, and we were in the Holloway area, and there was a signpost saying Tottenham 3 miles, and I said, please, can we just go and just I just want to stand on the pavement and look at the stadium. I was I would hasten to add I was 11 at the time, this wasn't recently, and so she did. She was very sweet. She took me up there, and we were standing outside the Red House, and the door opened.
Wow.
Of the Red House, and believe it or not, Bill Nicholson came out and saw me standing on the pavement and said, what are you doing? What are you doing here? And I sort of explained, and the family friend Anne was with me, and he said, oh, come in. And we're just getting ready to go on, the first team are just about to go on the away match. Come in and say hello. So
Wow.
I did, and I went in and met the first team, Martin Shivers and everybody. And then he arranged for me to go into the ground, and I had photos with my silk scarf, and in by the pitch, and went up the tunnel and everything. And I just thought, this is just love. I will,
Sometimes it's those
besotted,
little things, isn't
and I've
it?
never been less besotted.
Well, no, but you know what I mean. It's like it didn't. It
wasn't
didn't cost
that
him
little.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, but he was a
fantastic.
really lovely.
What a fantastic story. Thanks for sharing that, Rachel. Roy, mate, over to you, Roy. Why Spurs for you, mate? Is it a family connection? Did you get a choice like Graham and I didn't get a choice, and Rachel? Or what's your backstory, mate?
Can you hear us okay, Roy?
I wonder if...
Oh dear.
I can hear you fine, yeah.
Yeah.
I think your video is...
There's a slight delay, I think, on the audio. We can edit all of this out as far as these things that crop up sometimes. I think, are you on? I wonder if he's on the app, Graham, because I know sometimes that's.
Yeah, it's a bit. I think the network connection's not very good.
see if he can. We see if he can.
He's throwing it across the room.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
He's dropped off. That's okay. We get Roy to sort things out. But look, we get back into character, so to speak. So
Yeah.
I guess, Rachel, thanks for that overview, and we'll get Roy's in a moment as far as his background and why he came to being a Spurs fan. But you're now involved and have been for 11 years with the trust. How did that come about? Tell us a bit about the trust. Is it largely driven by fan engagement, the regular punter, or is it the more of the season ticket holders that can get involved, or maybe a bit of history there? And then Graeme, I don't know if you've got anything else as far as what you'd like to know about the trust from Rachel, and then once we get
I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions, but one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll ask away while I'm talking. Yeah, basically, I mean, the trust. I think the real strength of the trust is that it is independent of the club, not a club construct, but it is democratic. It's a formal. It's got a legal constitution, and it's affiliated to the Football Supporters Association, so it has a status. And a formal relationship with the club, but we are arm's length as well. But because we are the official supporters trust, it means that we've got written in a memorandum of understanding the absolute right and obligation to have regular meetings with the club, and also to have 2 delegates on the fan advisory board, which is a part of the club. And that's me and Steve Cavalier for this term, which has been a 3-year term. So it's a very good position to be in, really, because it means that you've got direct access. We always used to meet with Donna Cullen and Daniel Levy. Now we meet with Vinay Venkatesham, and we've got that access not just at the meetings but on a regular basis. We work with all the staff, the department heads as well, but particularly supporter services, and we represent Spurs, just basically Spurs fans. I mean, anyone who could be season ticket holders, could be members, could be just people who live on the other side of the world. We've got lots of members from America, for example. I mean, even we've got, for example, members from India, and actually I went on holiday recently to India and met up with Rajasthan Spurs. Went to watch.
I was in Vietnam. I was in the backwaters of Vietnam for that, and managed to find a bar showing it. Yeah.
I was at home. Sorry, I haven't got an exciting story about that one.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah.
But and supporters clubs join the trust as well. And, if they want us to, we are very happy to do either a link or go to an English supporters club for their AGM and talk about the work that we do. And the wider our membership, the better, because obviously then we hear the perspectives of all the different groups. So I would say maybe the majority of our members are match going. But if you're a full member, you get the newsletter every month, and you get to take part in the sort of formal legal side, democratic side of things. So like with the AGM, you can influence policy. And that's why we always say, whether you agree with us or not, join, because that way it keeps it fresh, it keeps it relevant. And obviously we try to be as pragmatic as possible, because ultimately what we want is results.
And I guess that only works if there's an ongoing dialogue with the club as well, right? So
we have
it can't be scorched earth there, because you have to be able to have these meetings, and you could very easily lose that contact if things were if there was a serious problem between the parties.
Yes. Although there was a bit of a scorched earth over the European Super League debacle. So along with other trusts, because we work with other trusts of other clubs as well. So, for example, the away ticket cap of £30, that's entirely down to supporters trusts. across the country that brought that in. Safe Standing as well was a supporter trust initiative, believe it or not. And that over the European Super League debacle, we were at. I mean, that was a line you do not cross.
For me, it's
and
still
we did
dumbfounded that they thought they'd get away with it.
And it took a long time.
There's a complete lack of, I don't know, listening, just general understanding what the support. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Hey, Roy, welcome
read
back.
The room. Yeah. And
we can see you now. We just can't hear what you're saying.
We've switched now. We have the opposite.
Yeah, I think you're on the laptop now, which is probably a better feed for whatever reason.
You're muted. I think you're muted.
Yeah, if you unmute yourself, can you unmute him, Graeme?
Yeah, I think he's done it. Maybe not. Hello?
And if you click on the microphone
there we
button
go.
and then look and see what mic.
Can you hear us, Roy?
Yeah,
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Well, we were just hearing from Rachel on.
Yeah.
I thought I was being silent.
We were just hearing from Rachel on some of the work the trust does, but in the interest of hearing from you, mate, and Graeme is an editing whiz, so he can drop in your part
I'm not
where
a magician,
it belongs.
but I'll do my best.
Yeah, Roy, keen to hear from you, mate, on why Spurs for you. Was it family? Was it you didn't get a choice? I think maybe you're from the local area, but over to you, mate. Maybe just give us a background on why Spurs.
Yeah, thank you. Family, no. I'm unlike so many people who have got a reason why they began following their football team. There's none for me, and thankfully, it wasn't a case of following my parents, because although neither of them were football fans, they both hailed from Holloway Road, Caledonian Road, so it could have been a complete disaster had I followed them if they were into football. But born in Chase Farm, like so many other people in Enfield. I went to school in Enfield, and then we moved to Cheshunt in the early 90s. So it was probably just a case of following the majority of my school friends, in the playground, Spurs fans, that predominantly above anyone else. And I think it's fair to say I picked the right team. Some people may disagree there, but
depends which
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I guess a lot of the for me it was my earliest recollection. My first Spurs kit that I got as a kid was the '77 one. So I do have some memory of the relegation season, but it didn't really affect me at that age. But really,
I sit somewhere in the middle on that, as far as I wouldn't change it for the world. And one of the reasons being the feeling that I had when we finally won the Europa League is something that just got built up over all those years, and there was tears, and couldn't agree more, Roy. I wouldn't change it for the world. And I love my club, and always will. Well, thank you, Roy. So we just heard from Rachel a little bit about the trust. Roy, maybe share with us, where do you fit in with the trust? How long have you been active with them? And maybe just share a bit of your role and some of the tasks that you tend to undertake for the Supporters Trust.
Yeah, sure. So I joined 12 months ago. I'm very lucky to be guided by Rachel, she won't mind me saying while she's here, as well as some other senior members of the trusts, Steve, Tristan, Michael. They're all fantastic people who really do dedicate so much of their time to the trust. It's actually been quite a strange time to join. If you can imagine, the last 12 months we saw the back end of Postecoglou's second and final season, the euphoria of Bilbao, followed by the fallout of him being sacked, Frank being appointed, the chairman leaving. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind 12 months in terms of my personal journey. Still finding my feet actually in many regards, but again lucky to be led by Rachel and the other senior members. It's eye-opening. I was very sceptical, not of the trust as such, but could we make a difference? Were we going to be listened to? Were we going to be supported? So it's been a fantastic eye opener, and continues to be as well. Obviously, as you know, we're a non-profit, voted onto the board, and all we do is we have a direct, line with the club, if you like, but we represent the supporters, and without the supporters, there's no trust. So we really do try to help our fellow supporters in every way that we can.
Graeme, I maybe pivot to you, mate, and I'm keen to get Rachel's input and Roy's, but Graeme, we obviously did an emergency pod after Thomas Frank was relieved of his duties. I had a few views on what I thought we should do and the direction we should take. We seem to have gone in an area which I think is a massive curveball. Like, I did not expect a manager with no Premier League experience, having managed in other countries, a short-term guru, it would seem, but I didn't think we would appoint somebody like that, but we have. That's the path we've taken. What's your view on it, Graeme? And then I'm keen to get Rachel and Roy's view as well, not just of the appointment, but just the general feel around the club as well. And is it as much of a basket case as it seems to be? Because from afar, it looks pretty poor. But Graeme, over to you, mate.
So I think I spoke a little bit about this last night, and because we did a recording last week. We did a recording the evening that Frank was sacked, and we probably spent an hour talking about all the possible permutations of who could manage the team until, would it be a permanent appointment, would it be an interim appointment, what kind of manager would we like to see? And we must have talked about a dozen.
For the record, I said Jurgen Klinsmann, didn't come anywhere close.
We talked about, but all I was going to say was, of all the people we talked about, Igor Tudor was not one of them. So that for me it was a bit of a left field one. But then, as I understand, Paratici had recommended him previously. In fact, I think in what I read, whether you can believe or not everything you read, but in November, he was advocating for replacing Frank even that early, and that Igor Tudor was the person that he had suggested. And I think the fact that nobody listened to him at the time is part of the reason that he ended up leaving. And ironically, after he'd left, they ended up choosing him anyway, which seems very strange. But I guess it was his last parting gift before he disappeared back to Italy.
Yeah, it's a strange club. I think we've temporarily lost Rachel. Now we seem to be playing musical
tag team at the moment.
Yeah, tag team. That's okay. I'm sure she'll be back. It's a strange old time at the moment, and it was a strange old time. Even the lead up after winning the Europa League, the amount of turbulence within the club, and not just Ange being fired, but of course Donna Cullen and Daniel Levy. Some huge seismic changes there after 25 years of status quo. So what do you make of it, Roy? I mean, not just the appointment of Igor Tudor, but just as a whole, where's this club heading? What success? What are we doing? is kind of where
the question is. I guess the question is, do they know what they're doing, and are they able to articulate it? Is the question? Because at the moment, I don't. There was a lot of words at the beginning of the season. I think Vinay spoke quite well, but actually, the reality has not matched the words. It's been a very disappointing season. Nobody could say that we've done particularly well in any of the kind of things that he talked about.
No, it's been a season to forget so far, hasn't it? After the high of Bilbao last year, I was very much in the camp that a change was needed. I know that isn't the popular view amongst many, but I thought Frank coming in, I thought we're gonna see a manager who brings. And obviously I wasn't the only one that thought this, but he would bring in a certain amount of stability. We saw what he did at Brentford with limited resources initially, the players that he brought in and the players that he developed as well, into some fantastic players that have gone on, with all respect to Brentford, bigger clubs now, and are showing week by week what they can do. It didn't work out. We actually had a really good meeting. I think it was over Zoom with Vinay and a couple of other club representatives at the start, and everything seemed really good at the start of the season. Burnley, the 3-0 win over Burnley, the Manchester City second game, and we weren't conceding, were we? The Champions League was going along nicely, and of course the injuries have played a big part. Not to excuse them wholly, but they of course play a big part in what's happened, what we've seen over recent weeks and months. But he had to, and sadly he had to go, Frank. As much as I think he had to come in when he did, he had to go probably 2-3 months before he was finally dismissed. So I think the club had to do something. In terms of who they were going to bring in, I think it was always going to be an interim. It was a question of who would come in. Obviously, the pool of managers available will be bigger and better to us, hopefully, in June. Several high-profile managers that are out of contract and may even lose their job between now and then. So there will be more options for us and opportunities to explore those. Ivor Tudor, I mean, I remember him playing. I had no idea that he'd gone into management. Such is my naivety. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but back in 1990 and Channel 4 showing Italian football every Saturday morning, I knew everyone, but over recent years, that's not the case. So
the pinnacle of European football, with all the money was there, right? And that certainly hasn't been the case for probably 2 decades now.
Yeah.
It's been
well, they took some of England's finest: Des Walker, David Platt, Paul Gascoigne, of course. Yeah, I mean, so Vince. So I was the same as you, Roy. I remember him as an uncompromising player. And an absolute warrior.
Yeah.
But management. I was like, what? I didn't even know. I think, from my perspective, if I look at this as a subjective, your law of averages tells us we should get a new manager bounce, right? We hope. I think overall, we'll be fine. I think we get the required points. I think we need 9 points. But again, I have less of a problem with the appointment in this moment. If you look at it and say, look, he's short term. He's done it at other clubs short term. He's sorted them out, etc., etc. He's also managed the Champions League. My issue is, I'd be keen to get your view, Roy. Is just the overall lack of direction. Like if you take the Johnny Heitinger appointment, then why did we appoint him if there was no contingency? That tells me that the board as a whole were very happy with keeping Frank.
It feels to me like that. I think that Johan Lange and Vinay both were going to stand behind Frank, because otherwise they wouldn't have invested the money in Heitinger. And then I think that they were overridden by the Lewis family in the end. I think it was a top-down decision. I think it was made for them. It's a feeling. I obviously got no evidence to prove or disprove that, but it just feels like that doesn't make any sense otherwise.
Yeah, and I mean we have a good relationship with the club. We're not privy to every decision like that either. So we're, at the end of the day, yes, we are the Supporters Trust, but we are supporters just like you and thousands of others around the world. But from what we read, it would appear that Vinay and Lange were quite content with Frank remaining in situ until the end of the season, which for me personally would have been an absolute disaster based on what we saw over his 26 league games. And that's why I think the change had been made when it was, and like I say, possibly earlier as well.
I lost you for a second there, Roy, but I think you're back. Oh no, we've lost him again as well.
Oh, we've lost them both. Why have you got their numbers, Graeme?
No, I've only got email.
I've emailed Rachel and just said, "Hey, we lost you. Is everything okay?" I wonder if it's strange because we've had this with. Oh yeah, Rachel's trying to get back in.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I'm not sure what's happened. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you
You're
back.
good
You're
now.
back.
Yeah, you're back.
We lost you for a while there.
Sorry.
See if we can get.
No,
past
don't
it.
apologise. It's
I think
funny. I
we're
was just
having
saying to
some glitches
Graeme,
tonight.
we've had this from time to time with a spattering of guests. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes I don't know if it's something to do with like the software and the demands that it pulls on the network. But anyway, nevertheless, you're back. So yeah, just my comment on that, Roy, from your perspective in terms of what you were sharing around your views on the sacking, and it probably could and should have happened after the West Ham game for me.
Yes.
It's quite frightening to me as a fan that so many sections of the home support would be so vehemently against Thomas Frank, and Vinay and Langer would be quite happy to sleepwalk and continue with what it was, which was madness. Because I didn't see where the next win was coming from under Frank, so they were prepared to allow him to manage the Arsenal game. I'm not sure he would have got out of that stadium alive. I mean,
Yeah, Mind boggles a little bit. I think you said it really there. That sleepwalking. I just felt like we were just. I don't think I think they'd lost the players. He'd lost the supporters. I mean, and it's kind of that read the room thing again, isn't it? I don't think that they really took into consideration what everyone else could see. I don't know what they were seeing, but it wasn't what everyone else was seeing.
yeah.
No, I agree.
And interestingly, probably sort of related to something that the trust is working on. What was it I was looking at? The Feel Our Home and Find Their Voice campaign. For me, you only had to look at the empty seats in the stadium to really see what the impact of the football on the pitch was. I have a season ticket I'm in 520 up in the gods, but I hardly recognise anyone sat around me all season. They're all season ticket seats. Nobody's going. And so I guess the club doesn't mind because most of the empty seats are season tickets that have already been paid for.
Yeah.
And the issue, and again, it comes to one of the other things you've been working on around the ticketing, the changes to the ticketing in the summer, which kind of got hidden underneath the no raise in season ticket prices. So the need to have a membership to do a ticket transfer.
Yeah. Awful decision.
Even the sell price on the exchange being 1/19 of a ticket.
Yeah.
Instead of the face value general price, which that they will then sell the ticket on for. So they're basically selling the ticket twice. Those are the kind of things that I think have driven the lack of occupancy in the stadium, and it does affect the atmosphere, and it surely must affect their off the pitch revenues around the back in the bar and in the restaurants as well.
Without doubt. Yeah, I mean the 1/19 rule is a previous one that they've reverted back to. We can see the pros and cons of that, but in terms of not being able to, ticket share to non-members, and you have to sign up and pay. And initially, at the beginning of the season, you had to sign up to a One Hotspur Plus membership. That was thrown at us.
Yeah.
Very much last minute, and we had very little time to respond to that. And thankfully, we managed to work with them, and in the second part of the season, supporters are now able to nominate three.
I think it was a step in the right direction, at least. Right?
Absolutely.
For me, that was
absolutely.
And those kind of the ability to transfer a ticket to somebody like that is how kids and parents get to see their first games. There's all, apart from the fact that it's very easy to get tickets at the moment because nobody wants to go. in a better season, that is how people get to see their first games, right? Like if I can't go, I've got a nephew or a cousin or
Yeah.
someone, they might want to go and see their first game, and that. So for me, that I think common sense, or at least partially returned with the reverting so that you could do 3 games this season at least. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
And just to be clear, it's 3 people that you can transfer it to that don't have.
Oh, okay,
There's
right. So
3
do
games.
it 3 people more than once then.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
And
even better.
actually, when this happened, and we weren't consulted at all on it, it just got sort of thrown in at the last minute, and we put a call out on social media. We got loads and loads of people responding, and we put a portfolio together to share with the club of all these case studies, and it was amazing how many people actually share a season ticket with either their wife or a son or a friend. Because our tickets are so expensive, loads and loads of people can't afford them on their own. So, it makes entire sense. And it meant that person would then have to become a member as well,
Yeah.
which is just wrong.
I mean, you know why they did it. It's obvious, right? It's additional revenue for the club, so it's not no surprise that they've never been shy of trying to raise additional money. But it did feel like a particularly low blow. I'm
What you described, Graham, we have a season ticket together. We have a pair right next to each other, and we got them when we moved to Wembley. Then we've kept them going each season in the new stadium, even if I'm all the way down here, and I've used it on occasions when I've been back. But case in point, my cousin, massive Spurs fan, her and her husband, last home game of the season, Graham couldn't go, so we just gifted them to her and said, look, here, go and have fun. We're not in it to make money. We're not in it to gouge fans. I'm just in it, if I can't go and Graham can't go, we just want it to go to a fan or a family member or a friend, And they're making it, with the call that they made before they made the change, it just became harder and harder to do that. And it's just driving a bad taste. And so I'm glad they made that change, which I'm sure you agree with. Yeah. Rachel, we lost you for a moment, but keen to get your view on, it's been a turbulent time to say the least at the club since obviously winning in Bilbao, firing Ange, Levy leaving, Cullen leaving, hiring Frank, firing Frank, hiring Igor Tudor. It's quite the time at the moment. Where do you sit, Rachel, on the current ongoings at the club? It seems from afar that it's pretty chaotic, and case in point is the Johnny Heitinger appointment, and then 33 days later, we don't need him anymore. Like, what? Yeah. So Rachel, your view, please. I'd be keen to get your input.
Yeah, I was just about to say, and not to mention Heitinger. I mean, what was that all about? Because it didn't feel to me that 33 days ago we were confident that Thomas Frank would still be here at this point. So how could you appoint someone?
I think we talked about that a little bit while you were off. I think that certain people at the club were confident.
Yes.
And that they were eventually overruled.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Which begs the question, like, is their position becoming untenable? If they're the ones,
From a footballing perspective.
Yeah.
Well, I think there are lots of views available, and actually I have most of them during the course of the day. But I think one thing we do have to bear in mind, and to be fair to the club, actually, is, for Vinay Venkatesham particularly, he has come in thinking he was going to be Daniel Levy's right-hand man. The next thing you know is Daniel Levy's gone. And meanwhile, 20 senior appointments later, most of whom have now started, I think everybody is trying to find their feet in terms of, we keep asking the club for a structural chart to show us who is all these people that you told us are joining. Who are they actually? How do they fit together? What is the vision for the organisation, and who will be making those decisions? And I think it's all come a bit too quickly that these major decisions have had to be made by not really football people.
Yeah.
So we've got pressure coming from the Lewis family, who are ENIC. I mean, it's just a sort of a rebrand, and obviously a real serious worry about relegation, but not ever wanting to mention that word. And someone has to make a decision. And yes, obviously, clearly, Langer and Venkatesan were 100% behind the appointment. And as we heard, Thomas Frank apparently was head and shoulders above all the other candidates on all the points that they had got as their shortlist. And the only one that we could think of was the Danish. What were the other things on the shortlist? I had no
Premier League experience.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, it's quite limited.
Good man, a good communicator with Brentford, and actually, I mean, he looked positive at the beginning.
I think I'll be honest. I was quite happy with the appointment at the time.
Too.
I did what probably most people did, was watched all the videos of the kind of behind the scenes stuff at Brentford that he did with Sky, and I thought, wow, he's a good guy.
Yes.
He knows everyone. It reminded me a bit of Poch and what he was like around the place, that he would know everyone, he would shake everyone's hand, and there was a bit of that going on so I felt like, and also his team seemed really close knit, and they looked strong, and they worked well together, and I thought this could be really good for us. And the first few videos of them out on the training ground, I'm like, okay, this looks right, but I just didn't. I don't think we ever really saw any impact on the playing staff over the course of the season. I expected him to improve players who have maybe stagnated a little bit in the squad. Just never really saw that.
But also, Graham, what's come to pass, and I've talked about this ad nauseum, is it seems to me that the likes of a Brentford and a Brighton, and probably teams like an Ajax, they have such a good setup. And they're run so well from the top down. The head coach, is merely and purely a custodian of said club, and the proof in that is Keith Andrews over at Brentford at the moment. I'm not suggesting
the amount of times that Brighton have done this as well.
Correct.
They've gone through
there was a funny tweet that someone put out. There was a video of a Brentford fan talking through their journey. And it's not just Frank, and it's not just Keith Andrews. There's countless other examples of how they've done things. So I'd agree with Graham. I was quite happy with the appointment at the time, but it went bad, and it went bad pretty damn.
But I think that the key thing here is that I think it was pretty clear to most people who've got eyes and have watched a game of football that we played that it wasn't working much earlier than the decision was made to remove him. And I think that probably that delay is what's caused us to be in such a difficult position at the moment from a league perspective. So I feel like, getting a new manager bounce after the West Ham game, for instance, we might not be in the position that we're in now.
Yeah.
But hey, we are, and we have a new manager, and he does seem like
he seems like one that will crack a few heads and punch a few walls.
He feels like a square peg for a square hole for a change. He feels like he's the right kind of manager for the situation that we're in. So that's positive. Even if he doesn't have Premier League experience, he's got experience of saving teams in difficult positions.
Yeah, agreed.
The brief is a simple one: come in and get 9 points. That's it for me. I don't care about the future right now. I don't care about
9 is borderline, right? 12
7.
will be comfortable.
12, yeah. Rachel, what do you make of the appointment as a whole? Did it come out of left field for you as well, like it did me?
It did. It made an element of sense, though, I thought, because Paratici has always been there really over the last 4 or 5 years, and I thought it was awful in a way, really, that we'd appointed him. It was such a bad look. It looked as though we'd appointed him and Langer because you couldn't sort of decide who shall we have then. And then, no sooner had he started than he was off. But I think he genuinely cares about the club, and that was, to me, clearly his recommendation. He's worked with him at Juventus. And he did what was needed at Juventus in that interim period, and I know that a lot of people were very underwhelmed, but there were very few people that we could have had. I can't imagine that. I mean, I think Robbie Keane was approached. And rightly.
He's got a very nice first team permanent job in Hungary.
Yeah.
He wouldn't give that up for a 12-match run, would he? I don't think that would be unrealistic.
No, on a hiding to nothing, really.
Yeah.
And, my feeling is that the Premier League thing is not really that relevant, because actually they've got the internet, better than mine probably, and they can watch television, and actually people watch the Premier League. No one's going to tell me who doesn't know how Arsenal play.
I think that even more so, it's easier to watch English Premier League matches outside of the UK than it is in the UK. From experience, and that's what I do for a living. I work with companies that stream TV in other countries. I've got a customer in Portugal who can watch every single Premier League match, even though the 3 o'clock games, everything. So it's nuts.
Similar coverage to here. Whilst the games are at awful hours, we get access to every single game live.
If you're willing to stay up till God knows when o'clock to watch them.
I'm generally intrigued by this approach in North London Derby, though, and it's a 3:30 a.m. Monday morning kickoff for me. So I might just set an alarm and get up for it and go back to bed afterwards. I'm quite intrigued. I'm intrigued by this one in particular.
Yeah, you can see this sense in the timing. I mean, I would have gone earlier, but.
I maybe wouldn't have given the players 5 days off.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
He's got a lovely rest.
He could have had more time with them if they'd have pulled the trigger a little bit earlier.
Yeah. But I agree. But in terms of bringing someone else in, starting afresh with the players, all the training, we've got this huge space. They've just had a nice holiday, which, there were so many games. That's partly why so many players get injured. But they've had a rest. They're now. There's absolutely no excuse. They're just completely focused on this game. Arsenal have still got another game, haven't they? They've got to play Wolves. Where I mean, it would be awful if any of their key players got injured, but that could happen. And
Wolves got a new manager. Have they got a new manager?
Wolves have no. I don't. Yeah,
no, that's just another Forest manager.
Sorry, that's another Forest manager who's ex-Wolves. That's a really good point, Rachel. And I found that when West Ham came to Spurs, Vinay had put out a statement again about the future, about competing on 4 fronts. West Ham came to Tottenham and they were looking solely at that game. And they came to Tottenham and they won. And that's the focus that we need for Sunday against Arsenal.
For the next 12 games.
Yeah.
One at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
This match.
Given I don't think it's out of school to say this, because we know it's a purely interim appointment and there is no option, longer term, I think the club are getting to a point now where if Maurizio Pochettino wants the job, we say yes. I don't think there's many better that will approach and want the job. I think it's becoming a bit of a poison chalice. I don't think we're a desirable position to come to at the moment. So if Pochettino wants to come back, I think he's got that right of refusal and we just employ him. I don't know what your take is, Roy. I saw you nodding there. Would you agree with that Poch just needs to return and we need to scratch that itch and see what happens?
I think it's a popular choice, Glenn. He wouldn't be my choice to come back personally. I don't believe you go back. Very extreme circumstances, maybe. I think it'd be listen, we'd get behind him. Of course, we love Pochettino. We remember what he did in his 5 years with us. If you're going to ask me who...
Sorry, no, go ahead, Roy.
Go ahead, Roy. See.
I was just going to say, if you're going to ask me who I'd prefer, I really don't know. If I'm being absolutely honest. But if
There'll be more choice in the summer, at least.
Yeah, this is what we were saying before, isn't it? By getting an interim manager in now, you're giving yourself more options in the summer. Managers will lose their job, unfortunately, between now and then. And there are a few out of contract as well. Oliver Glasner, a key one. I know a lot, and Iriola, possibly at Bournemouth as well. I think his contract might be running running down. So there's
There's
two
a lot of
names.
international managers that will come available. after
Well,
World
the
Cup
the
as well, I
the
guess.
Yeah.
the FA have got ahead of things, haven't they, and tied down Tuchel, so that rules him out from Man United and Tottenham. But Rachel, I saw you shaking your head at Glasner, but where do you sit on the Pochettino, as I affectionately refer to him as Uncle Morris? Do you want him back, or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was with friends who don't know anything at all about football in a restaurant on the night that the message came through saying he was sacked. And I burst into tears in the restaurant. And I was just so frustrated. I was heartbroken, but also so frustrated that we had this amazing manager who was the perfect manager for us. We did not
Yeah.
back him. We
At all.
I
so
think,
high, and
yeah.
we didn't support him. And we were told that he'd said that the players that he was being offered weren't going to improve the first team, so he didn't want them. Well, offer him better players then. Don't sign
I-
it to him.
I think that's the key thing for any appointment, but especially Pochettino, is that the club needs to get itself squared away so that whoever comes in
Yeah,
has the full support, but not the words, the actions.
absolutely.
Because we've always said the right thing, and
Yeah,
I obviously I watched the Ange overlap interview, the snippet that they did.
Well, it's quite funny,
just
Graham. Sorry to speak over you, but it's quite funny because I'll forget this point otherwise. We had the Ange overlap, but then the week before we had the Pochettino High Performance podcast.
Yeah.
So we had two X. Very much.
And if they'd have waited
yes, one day.
another 2 hours,
Yeah.
Sean
Sean Dyche, God, yeah.
Saul Dyche got sacked as well. They could have had Ange on for that one.
Yeah.
But no, I think that whatever happens, the club needs to be lined up.
Yeah,
And we need to be much more joined up. I think we've been so bad. Recruitment has been a disaster. I think that we've spent money, but a lot of it's been wasted because everything's been feels like we've bought a lot of compromised players that we've never. We're not going to. At the moment, we're not competing with for the same players as Real Madrid and Man City. We're just not, because they will attract the best of the best. But with good scouting, other teams manage to find uncut gems that they then turn into good players, and we've done that in the past ourselves. We've turned some very good players into world-class players, and we've had people come through like Modric and Bale and Harry Kane and Son. None of those were household names before they came to Tottenham.
Dele Alli.
Yeah, Dele Alli as well.
Ericsson.
Yeah.
And I think none of the and I this is my pet conspiracy theory about Pochettino's period. He was telling anyone who would listen that there were some difficult choices that need to be made about refreshing the squad, and I think that he works a squad very hard. So he does. It's all double training sessions. All of the games are 100 miles an hour. Really a lot of energy in everything. And I think he burns out players quite young. So he'll get them in young. They'll run through brick walls for him. But then there's a drop off that happens, and that's why he knew he needed to refresh the squad. But I just don't think the club ever supported the changes that were needed in the playing staff until it was too late, and then that was it.
In that core peak Pochettino era, a player that doesn't get talked about enough for me is Moussa Dembele. He was so key to all of it. He knitted it all together. He couldn't get the bloody ball off him.
And then when he reached the point where he was a bit broken and he needed to move on, we never really replaced that.
Never replaced him, yeah. We tried with a few Victor Wanyama, you could say he was okay when he came in. But yeah, so no, let's see what happens in the summer and how Poch goes. I think his contract with the US oddly is until September, but I think that can be negotiated. I'm just fearing Donald Trump
We'll
getting
just get
involved.
Trump to deport.
No, indeed. Look, one thing I wanted to cover, Roy and Rachel, and I think it's fair to go here because it's on the BBC, so it's very well known. The story's broken fairly recently, but I'll just read the headline and then maybe get your view. But Spurs accused of editing meeting minutes by fans. I don't know how close you are to this or what you're aware of, but can you shed any light on this? Was it a meeting that you were attending, or and obviously share what you're comfortable in sharing?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think Rachel's best placed.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Roy.
It was the meeting that I attended with Vinay Venkatesham, and also the head of supporter services and the head of comms. And as always, this is a formal meeting that we have, and it's always agreed that it will be there will be a report that we agree, and normally we get those out, the report out within about two days roughly of the meeting. Now, obviously, the meeting took place and then everything happened. So we understand that that meeting might not have been the most important thing in the world to them because they were in the middle of replacing the manager. We do understand that that is more important. But 2 weeks is far too long. So we were really sort of having to put pressure on saying, we've got to get this report out. And we got the first draft, which was okay, but it wasn't really telling you anything. It was just sort of almost to the effect of sort of saying that we had reported on the results of a survey or whatever. And so we put factual content of what had happened, what the outcomes were, because obviously people want to know, and they want to know that we are representing their views or the supporter views. And in particular, we conducted the survey, which I hope I'll be able to tell you a little bit about.
The 5 principles.
Yeah, the 5
survey,
principles
right?
survey.
Yeah.
And it's pointless to present some minutes that said, we welcome the trust telling us about the results of the 5 principles survey. You need to include what the results were and the context that we gave around each of the points, because I sat there literally explaining why the scores were the way they were on each of the 5. And basically, it sort of went backwards and forwards. And in the end, we agreed that, okay, they changed the format. They just wanted it to be a very sort of brief, formal note. And we said, for the sake of time, we will accept these as the minutes, but we will be putting a commentary next to it with the paragraphs that you've not included. And that's basically what it is. And we put that out on social media and on our website. And so I think the BBC website is sort of making more of a story out of it.
Maybe a bit of clickbait.
I think it is, yes. And I'm afraid it might be very disappointing to, as so much clickbait is. It's not that there's a conspiracy about the club trying to control the minutes, because everybody tries to control a report that would come out about the club. It's really just that we wanted to make it absolutely clear that we will communicate and we will show what was said and what we did. And if it has to be from us as a separate story, so be it.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that overview.
Do you want to tell us a bit about the survey itself, Rachel? We'd be interested to know.
Absolutely. So the survey, it's actually the 4th time we've run it. And this was, we sort of devised it at the sort of the time when Daniel Levy was coming under a lot of pressure, and there was a lot of conversation around ownership. And we said, well, we can't really say whether we want one lot to go when we have no idea who might come in, and it could be actually a whole lot worse. It could be a whole lot better, but it could also, there's a very real possibility that it would be someone whose values wouldn't align with ours and Spurs supporters generally. We've seen Manchester United have been having, it's not been easy for them.
No.
With their
Every time he opens his mouth, it becomes more difficult, it seems.
Exactly. So basically what we said was that we came up with 5 key principles for any owners, whoever owns the club. These are the 5 principles that we believe that they should adhere to. And we ran this through with our members. We had discussed it at our AGM, and then we did a survey to see, well, where are people? How do they score the club against these things? So I'll very quickly say the first one was commit to winning, which is hardly controversial. Invest to the level needed to secure league and cup success. Second was attract and retain talent, build a transfer policy and competitive wages to secure top players. Third one was future-proof success, develop elite youth talent to strengthen the squad and sustain excellence. Fourth one was lead with integrity, champion ethical standards, strong governance and financial sustainability, reinvesting in the team while keeping ticket prices affordable. And finally, fans first, engage, consult, collaborate with supporters and their representatives to build loyalty, passion and success on and off the pitch. And when we first ran that survey, I think we had about 2,500 responses, and the scores, it was quite an interesting meeting with Donna Cullen, telling her that the scores were basically around 3 out of 10 on most of them, 6 for the developing youth one.
Yeah.
And I said at the time, the great news is there's only one way these numbers can go. But I was wrong.
Oh, they were worse this year.
So
Wow.
The most recent set,
Yeah, it's not good.
we had to sit and share with the club over 4,500 responses. So
That's never a good sign, right? Where people are feeling much more motivated to give their opinions.
But it's a good data set.
Oh yeah. Oh,
so
absolutely.
it should-
It's a better data set. With
Yeah.
the more, the merrier.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. And to be fair, they took it very seriously. Both owners and both leaders that we worked with accepted the principles and said, absolutely, this is what we should be judged on. But the most recent figures, so remember, it's out of 10. Commit to winning was 1.65. I'm trying to say it with a straight face, because it's actually incredibly serious. Attract and retain talent was 1.94. Future-proof success had halved down to 2.96. Lead with integrity 2.2, and fans first 1.9. So, really terrible.
Did that survey go out after or before Bilbao, Rachel?
Oh, this was like in the last 3 weeks.
Recent, yeah.
In the last month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
we
that-
did one after Bilbao, and it took a slight peak, but it
Yeah.
was still very low. People needed more than one win because they'd watched us lose pretty much every game at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
And paying
I
top and paying top whack to do so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's interesting. This is the first season where I've heard a lot of people who have been long-term season ticket holders really considering giving them up,
Yeah.
which is not
So
good.
sad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad.
No,
And I
indeed.
Yeah.
think the only one.
Wow, that's
Sorry, I was just going to say the only one where they really felt the club really felt like this feels harsh was the developing youth. But we explained that we felt that one last season there was a real momentum around Lucas Burwell and Archie Gray.
Archie
It was
Gray,
really
yeah.
pivotal, and actually Lucas got Player of the Season, didn't he?
yeah,
it was
rightly
really
so as well. Yeah.
building on those young people, and of course we knew that we'd had that very successful academy team that had won the cups and the league the year before, but now not only obviously Lucas is injured, there's a lack of momentum. There's a lack of a golden thread of how we play our football throughout the club. And also the loan policies just don't seem to make sense to supporters. What's happened?
Seems a bit scattergun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Scarlett has been sitting on the bench, and now he's gone off and doing a loan somewhere. Alfie Devine, what's happened to him? Should they not be sold? because we know they're not all going
Yeah,
to come
it
into
feels
the
like
first
we're just
team.
hanging on to them too long. If they're not
Absolutely.
ready to come in and be part of the squad now, then
Yeah.
It's interesting
these
to
are players
me.
at 21, 22 now. They're not
But
youngsters anymore, are they?
even players that have featured on the bench and have got a few minutes lately, Byfield is a fullback, can play in a free, I understand it. So I do wonder if we'll see maybe more of him playing in his natural position. And then you've got Williams Barnett, who played in the England, I think it was the Under-20 World Cup, and is clearly a raw talent, but he's
Yeah.
kicking his heels. Just give him some minutes. I mean, it just makes no sense to me.
Or loan him, give
Or loan him, give him
it
something.
somewhere.
But you make a great point, Rachel, on Alfie Devine. What's happened to him? it's like
It's just loan after loan.
yeah. No, it's very, 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 very strange.
I also think as well, although I'm been super impressed with Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall. The only reason that they got so many minutes was through injury, though, right?
Yes.
So they ended up playing the number of games that you would expect a regular first-team player to play. Over 40 games each last season. 50, I think, in Lucas Bergvall's.
Bergvall, yeah.
Or they're both around the 50 mark, I think. And I don't think that would have happened. Like, even at the start of this season, they weren't playing as regularly because we bought new players and there was a bit more rotation in the squad. But they are, again, we're back with them playing regularly again through injury. And I feel almost like our youth policy is only enacted when we're in a crisis situation. And there doesn't seem to be any logical pathway to them to get regular minutes with the team without that being the case.
No, and
unfortunate.
that's something that we spoke about earlier, Rachel, wasn't it? The pathway to the first team is clearly broken. You take Jamie Donnelly; he had a fantastic loan spell with Leyton Orient last season. We should have sat down with him and his family and his representatives and said, right, this is our plan for you this season. He went to Stoke, and he was getting along with Ashley Phillips, I think it was, wasn't it, at the start of the season, that he was getting no minutes. Neither were getting any minutes. So for me, I don't know. Did we have a conversation with Stoke at the start of the season? Did we say he needs to be playing? The terms of this loan deal was that he's playing regular minutes. Was there a recall clause? Eventually, he came back, but there doesn't seem to be any clear pathway for our youngsters. And as Rachel said, Dane Scarlett is a fantastic case in point. He had a really, really bad loan spell with Ipswich last season. He came back. He's on the bench for 8, 9, 10 games. He's getting 4 or 5 minutes here and there. And he's 22, so yeah, he's young. 22 is young, but there's 22-year-olds in Premier League and European squads.
He doesn't count as is it a Group B? The players on the
homegrown.
He's exactly, but he might be homegrown, but he's a fully fledged adult player now. There's no.
This is it. This is it.
Sneak into a squad because the only reason he probably gets in is because he's homegrown at the moment, and we still seem to be very short on homegrown as well.
To add on Dane Scarlett, like the Copenhagen home game when he came on and featured, he looked really bright and influenced the game, and then he was never seen again.
He got the penalty, didn't he?
Yeah,
that's right.
It's just it beggars belief. It's very, very strange way.
But last season was a bit weird with him and Lancashire. They seemed to tag team 6 months out on loan each, and the rest sat on the bench. Well, Lancashire did play a bit more, I think, mostly through injury again, because he scored and got sent off, didn't he, away at Galatasaray?
That's right. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
But Alfie Dorrington
get his first goal.
Yeah.
Alfie Dorrington's another one.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
Alfie
Dorrington. Yep. And then there's
isn't he gone? Is it Dorrington that's just gone back out on loan to League Two?
I think it's Salford. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was getting no game time at Aberdeen. We recalled him, and I think it's Salford in League Two.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the big one that everyone's talking is Vuskovic, and then it gets talked about that we might actually. There's murmurings of Bayern Munich, so we might not even see him in a Spurs shirt. We just make a tiny profit. Like
we have a hulking great contract with him. So if we do sell him, it will have to be on our terms. I don't think we should.
I don't think we should, and I don't think we will. He needs to be part of that because for me, he probably slots in once Romero gets sold. I expect. Is my
depending on whether him or Van der Ven, depending on what happens
if
with
Van der
them in the
Ven
summer,
sticks
because
around.
they've obviously there's been murmurings about their how unhappy they might be.
Yeah.
But I guess this is the thing about the instability at the club, is that the risk is that you lose your better players as well. So
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, a couple. I'm very conscious of time. I know it's getting late there in the UK, and I've got a commute to get to myself, and going to speak about much more boring things than this. I'd much rather stay on with you guys. But one thing I wanted to pivot to, of course, Roy, Rachel, Graham, are you all going to go on Sunday to the North London Derby?
I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be all. Where are your seats, Rachel and Roy? Whereabouts are your where do you season ticket holders? I assume, where do you sit?
So Rachel's in 101, I believe. Rachel, is that right?
You're not meant to.
Don't give a seat number.
Well, I get the seat number. Rachel's very well known in that part of the stadium. I believe the bagels are not far from 101.
Yeah.
No, the funny thing with the bagel, well, I mean, we're not that interested, obviously, but that was down to me getting the bagels back, because I think bagels are a Tottenham thing.
Yeah.
And I used to be in charge of the catering before not producing it, but monitoring it. And so I did loads of surveys and showed the evidence that bagels would work, and they didn't believe me, but they do, and they've done a second bagel bar
Good.
now.
Oh,
but yeah,
fantastic.
I'm the cheap strip at the edge of the West Stand, so it's the same price as the South. Well, I say cheap, cheaper.
Yeah, it's all relative,
really like
right?
it there, yeah, because the idea was that we'd have loads of goal celebrations of the last minute winners.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope for one
Yeah,
on Sunday.
Exactly.
And what about you, Roy? Where's your seat, mate? Whereabouts are you in the stadium?
I think I'm the only board member of the trust who isn't a season ticket holder. However, I do attend 99% of home games. I took the decision to refuse a season ticket when offered one, purely on the basis that the stadium was too nice for me to be restricted to one block. So I've kind of hopped from block to block. Generally, I'm in on level 4 of the Paxton, or the North, as I've got a friend who forwards his ticket to me if he can't make it. But I'm here, there, and everywhere. You know, the stadium really is beautiful, isn't it? For all its all the faults in our bad record there, it's a beautiful stadium. So.
We're in. I say we. I get there when I can. Our pair is in 520, isn't it, Graham? So just above the away fans.
I think we didn't have a lot of choice at the time when we got the tickets, but for me, it's very similar to the view that we had when we were at Wembley. I'd been, for most of my supporting life, been in the Paxton, behind the goal, about row 10, with a friend who had 2 season tickets that he would like timeshare them. So I'm familiar with that concept. He used to do that quite a lot, and so that was I got used to. So I was there for the last game at the stadium, and then so I got used to this kind of like more higher up view with a more kind of tactical view of the pitch.
Yeah.
Being able to see the 4 corners of the pitch, which is a bit of a novelty for me, because usually you get the runoff on the edges of the pitch. You can't see the edge lines or anything from where I was before, so that's quite nice. But I've done, like you, Roy, for the European games, I've tended to hop around the stadium. So I've had a couple sort of around the shelf area, been in the South Stand, got a friend over in the West Upper as well, so I've been over there a couple of times. So yeah, I've worked my way around the stadium. But it is, I really think that they nailed the stadium. I think the concessions now are pretty spot on. The food is of good quality. It's not like I remember the old days where just about passable as dog food. Some of the stuff that would get served, but excellent food, good choice of beverages. So I can't knock them for what they've done, and I think it's obviously helped the coffers. It's not done them any disservice on that front. So
Before we let Rachel and Roy go, and before we drop off, we'll go around the houses as we do every episode, Graham, from a prediction point of view. I think I'll start us off with. Match. Look, my head says a valiant display. I think we'll be in the game. I think we need to make Arsenal work really bloody hard for the win, which I think we will. But my head says they'll probably win, and it'll be a narrow win. My heart says maybe we can nick a point, which will be huge because we may put a bit of a dent in their title push. But Roy, what do you reckon, mate? Can you see a better outcome than that?
I'm certainly a lot more optimistic with Tudor than I would have been had Frank remained in situ. But again, all I want to see is those players leaving everything on the pitch.
Yeah.
Not just because it's against Arsenal, but I want to see them in all 12 matches leaving everything on the pitch. But I think he will, not that they should need reminding, I think he will remind them though just how important this game is. I think there'll be goals. 2-2. Let's go 2-2. And as you say, we'll make a dent. They'll drop 2 points.
Yeah.
And it will be a valuable point for us come the end of the season.
Let's hope you're right. Rachel, what do you reckon?
Well, funnily enough, I was thinking, so long as no one gets sent off, I do think that there's a real risk of one of our players getting sent off. Because I think the bar.
At least Romero can't get sent off again.
Yeah, but other players can get sent off too. I think
Javi, for instance,
really harsh on us. I think so long as we don't get someone sent off, I think I'm going to go. Actually, I'm going to just. Oh, come on, 3-2. We're going to.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'd take that.
Yeah, Graham, what do you reckon, mate? Close us out.
I really want to. What I'd like to see is to have more attacking intent and actually to create more chances and maybe convert more of them as well. So I'll go 2-1 win.
Oh.
So all that optimism, I don't know where that came from.
So that now the alarm's got to be set at 3 a.m. for me. I've got to get up, haven't I? I've got to do it. I've got to do it. I usually do, to be fair. I usually watch this one live. I've just been so flat of late with Frank, but he's gone. So it's time to set the alarm and get up and hopefully enjoy a North London derby. Well,
I'll be interested to see what kind of songs we can come up with for Igor Tudor.
Yeah, indeed.
Feels like it's a bit of a challenge for somebody.
Well,
someone with better songwriting skills than me.
I'll leave you with this. There's a group that I'm part of here, which is we're not really official anyway, but there's quite a lot of us expats, and we meet for games when we can. But there's a pub at the end of the road just that way, and it's the Tudor Inn. It's actually a bit. It's actually a bit of a shithole, but we've all decided once we've got enough points to stay up, that's where we're all going to go for a beer.
I like it.
Yeah, so it has to be done. Well, look, Rachel and Roy, thank you so much for coming on and offering some insights. It's been a real pleasure to have you on. Yeah, thanks so much.
What I will do is that if you could send me details about how people can join the trust, absolutely. I would happily put them in the description of the video so people can have a look and they can come and look at the website, and I appreciate that. I think you do really good work. It's not paid. You're fans
we really
like
are
the rest
stronger.
of us, and I think that's important that people understand that we provide a really important service for the supporters to have our voice heard with the
and we need
appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. We need more supporters to join. You know, we really are stronger together, and as you say, it's very easy to join. So if you could put that link in, that'd be fantastic.
Fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Well,
on a day where you made a national news,
yeah, indeed,
but which seemed like a bit of a storm in the teacup with hindsight, but and it also feels like something that never needed to get to where it ended up being as well. But hey,
well,
makes the day interesting, if nothing else.
As always from me, I'll pivot to you, Graham, to close us out fully. But as always from me, thanks again to Rachel and Roy, and come on, you Spurs.
It's been a pleasure. Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And to close us out, as everyone's just said, come on, you Spurs.